Khamzat Chimaev just etched his name into the UFC history books with a record-shattering performance. But somehow, he's still walking away from UFC 319 to a wave of criticism and a fresh wave of hungry challengers. Let's break down how the newly crowned middleweight king is reacting to the backlash, what really happened during that title fight with Dricus du Plessis, and why top contender Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez is already calling for war. At UFC 319, Chimaev landed a staggering 529 total strikes, absolutely obliterating the previous record of 447 held by Max Holloway in his legendary war against Calvin Kattar. This was historic, unprecedented, and yet many fans felt underwhelmed. The issue wasn't whether Chimaev dominated, because he did. Dricus du Plessis, the former champion, was completely neutralized for nearly all 5 rounds, taken down repeatedly, smothered with pressure, and beaten with relentless ground and pound. DDP had no answers. Still, for fans accustomed to Chimaev's highlight reel knockouts and wild brawls, the fight lacked the fireworks they craved. Even UFC president Dana White expressed his surprise, telling reporters post-fight that he expected an absolute banger, and that what unfolded in the cage didn't quite deliver the drama.
The lead up to this fight, I said, I bet the main event is the fight of the night. Didn't see that coming, but not shocked either. I mean, you go in and dominate the way that he dominated. If you can do it the first round, more likely you can do it the second and throughout the rest of the fight.
In the post-fight press conference, Chimaev didn't dodge the backlash. Instead, he owned up to the lack of a finish and even apologized to Dana White, saying, "I tried to finish him in the last seconds. I made a mistake, but I beat him everywhere. In striking, in wrestling, on the ground. I dominated the fight. This guy was just really tough." He also revealed that his coaches were actually hoping for a 5-round fight to help him gain valuable experience at the championship level. "My team told me it would be good for us to go all 5 rounds. That way we grow, we learn, we become even better. So I'm happy it happened this way, but still sorry to the fans who expected a quick finish." The performance may not have been a knockout, but it was a statement. Chimaev silenced any doubts about his cardio and composure. He proved he can dominate over 25 minutes, not just in 2. While the MMA world is still processing Chimaev's dominant win, one man wasted no time issuing a challenge: Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez. Currently riding one of the most impressive streaks in the division, Hernandez believes he's the man to test the new champ's gas tank and potentially end the reign before it really starts. In an interview with Spanish journalist Papa Legaspi, Hernandez fired a warning shot. "It was a pretty boring fight, not gonna lie, but call me for that next one. I can wrestle, I can do jiu-jitsu, I can stop that man and I'll shut him down. With my gas tank, I'll drown him. I'll make him work every second." Fluffy didn't stop there. He made it clear he wants that title shot and believes fans would be looking at a new Mexican-American UFC champion if the UFC gives him the opportunity. On paper, Hernandez makes a strong case. He's a relentless grappler with a suffocating pace, the kind of pressure fighter that might match Chimaev's intensity. Hernandez is also on a 4-fight win streak, with recent finishes over Marc-Andre Barrio, Edmen Shabazian, and Rodolfo Vieira. His cardio is elite, and his ground game has frustrated several high-level BJJ players. But let's not pretend Chimaev hasn't faced pressure before. Gilbert Burns pushed him to the edge, and even in that back-and-forth war, Chimaev didn't break. Against du Plessis, Chimaev looked completely unbothered, despite carrying a pace that shattered all-time strike records. So the question becomes, can anyone in the middleweight division truly handle bores over 5 rounds? Aside from Hernandez, several others are being discussed as future threats to Chimaev's crown. Rinya Nakamura, who has shown excellent wrestling pedigree and is rising fast Caio Baralho, a highly skilled Brazilian with a well-rounded ground game, and IQ Nasruddin Imavov with precise striking and excellent distance control, and of course Renair de Ridder, the one championship phenom with high-level jiu-jitsu who has been eyeing a crossover into the UFC. But after UFC 319, it's becoming clearer that Chimaev isn't just hype. He's evolving. Despite becoming the undisputed middleweight king, Chimaev hasn't closed the door on welterweight either. At the presser, he said he's down to return in Abu Dhabi, and he's even willing to face the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, which is rumored for the UFC 321 card. "Welterweight, middleweight, doesn't matter. I smash everyone," Chimaev said. His desire for greatness hasn't wavered, whether it's defending his title against rising contenders like Hernandez or jumping divisions to chase double champ status. One thing's for sure, Khamzat Chimaev wants legacy, not just wins. Khamzat Chimaev just turned in one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen in a UFC title fight. And as expected, the MMA world had a lot to say about it. From fighters to analysts to fans across the globe, everyone's chiming in on what went down at UFC 319. Let's dive into how the MMA community reacted to Chimaev's 5-round dismantling of Dricus du Plessis. Starting things off with the Notorious himself, Conor McGregor tweeted and wrote, "Cheshna's first UFC champion. Congrats." Bilal Muhammad had some words of his own. "Told you it would be easy," but then followed up with a hilarious fake out. "Shout out to Dracus. You showed a lot of heart. You never gave up." Just kidding. You sucked. That was 5 108s. Next up, Sean Strickland tweeted, "I'm probably the only one in the UFC that can out-grapple that little for 5 rounds. Well, looks like I got to stack some W's to fight that little Elmo." Meanwhile, Bo Nickel tweeted, "I really got to lock in." Henry Cejudo gave credit to both men and said, "Dricus showed heart, but Khamzat is on another level right now. He may very well be champion for years to come." Paulo Costa tweeted and wrote, "No one wants to watch this, LOL. People booing in the arena in that bar." Rising Dagestani star Muhammad Mokaev kept it real. Chim took him to deep waters, just a different level. Ben Askren tweeted, "Man, DDP has got some serious heart, but needs the sprawls to go with it." Kelvin Gastelum admitted he didn't see it coming. Chim dominating the later rounds was not on my 2025 bingo card. Chael Sonnen highlighted the absurd stats. "Do you realize it's over 400 punches landed versus 1? And Dominic Cruz broke it down technically. Chim beat DDP with the same pace, style, and pressure as always. Derek Brunson asked the million-dollar question. Well, damn, how good is Usman? He then took a jab at the UFC's old ways. Old school UFC Joe Silva would have cut Shim after this fight. Joe hated wrestling. Terrence McKinney had a series of thoughts. Has there ever been such a one-sided championship fight before? DPP didn't lose. He just needed 3 more rounds. Khamzat is an all-time great. Regardless of how you feel, he did it. He made it look easy doing it his way." Submission Radio tweeted, "Absolute domination by Khamzat Chimaev. Perhaps the greatest wrestling domination in a championship fight. Also hats off to Dracos Dupli, who tried till the very last minute. Khamzat's grappling is just unstoppable." Adam Martin tweeted and wrote, "This is legitimately one of the most lopsided UFC title fights of all time. Maybe the most lopsided ever." Marcel Dorff wrote, "Just one word, domination." Benny P tweeted, "I failed to see how many middleweight manages to stop that." And finally, Firas Zahabi, coach of Georges St. Pierre and one of the most respected minds in MMA, gave the ultimate compliment. "What an incredible performance by Chimaev. He will be one of the most dominant champions ever."